Hey guys, and welcome back to another video and yet another episode of my F1 AOR journey here today, and we are here for another episode of the PC F3 League, and today we are here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. AOR was off for 3 weeks after China, but they were back on the last weekend, and it was round 4 for Baku, and yet again this weekend we have round 5 at Spain, which I'll be bringing to you next week hopefully. And yeah, we're going to continue on. Obviously now AOR will be a lot more frequent, especially once the F1 season comes to a close. But if you guys did miss the last race at China, the first actual full race where I could compete, so essentially where my season started, if you do want to check that video out, then click the card in the top right hand corner of your screen to see how my season got underway in China after pretty much missing Bahrain and pretty much missing Australia as well. So yeah, pretty much I've only done one official race so far, and I need to get some decent points on the board. We got a good result in China when we scored that 5th place, which should have been P4, but we arrived here at Baku, and I didn't know what to expect because Baku is a track that I don't particularly like. I have to be honest, it's one of my worst tracks, so we'll see what happens. It's not one that I particularly like. However, having said that, I surprised myself because when we started doing a couple of laps in qualifying, after the first few minutes and first few runs, we seemed to have some pace. But having said that, I looked at the time trial times before we even got underway, and I was quite far behind most of the people that I compete with in the league. So even in the back of my mind, I was thinking to myself, you know what, maybe I might not have that much pace. I think these guys might find a bit more pace than me. But you can see here, my first attempt on super softs, not particularly a great lap. I was kind of just getting a feel for the circuit and just seeing how the game generally performed, because with online gameplay I get a bit of lag on my screen. It's not as smooth as offline. It's not even like lag spikes, it's just constant lag, and even though since I'm running at 50 frames per second, it definitely feels like I'm running at 35 or something. So yeah, that aside, you can see there another mistake, knocking off a bit of end plate. But now we're going to skip on to my best lap of the session. It was actually my last one, so I had to make it count. Even if I made mistakes, I had to get to the finish line to try and set myself up for a grid position. Now straight away, turn 1 you want to brake just as the curb appears on the right hand side. Go down the gears, make sure you let the car run out wide on the exit here, as you once again brake late down to 3rd, possibly 2nd gear for turn 2 depending on your preference. Focus on traction down here, open up DRS as soon as possible, as traction is really important to really maximise the straight line speed. As you now look for the 100 metre board on the right hand side, down to 3rd gear, pick up your apex. I get a little look up there and run very wide. I probably lost about 0.2 of a second there, or a 1/10.5 easily, and I wasn't particularly happy with that mistake. So already a little bit down on time as we now go through sector 1 into this left-right chicane combination. It's important to sacrifice the first one to open up the right and really focus on your exit as we now go. And you want to brake just before the 50 as we go for this right-hand double apex hairpin here. Very tricky corner, short square on the throttle as we now go into the castle section. Throw the car in there, 4th gear action, have patience. 3rd gear now for the right, losing the back end a little bit there, getting loose mid-corner as we go in the power. And to be fair, it's a very nice, tidy, but also aggressive castle section as we now go onto this back straight with lots of little curves in it. As we now brake just before the 50 again, down to 3rd gear, tap that inside curb. I just hit the wall on the right hand side. I went a little bit too deep on the brakes as we now go into the last major brake point on this circuit. 3rd gear to re-rotate the car through here as we now get on the power, and it's all about now keeping it flat to the line and trying to cut off as least amount of drag as possible through the corners. So try not to turn the steering wheel too much, and it's all about maximum straight line speed here and what your setup is all about. And we're currently in P17 and we need to try and improve, so let's see what happens here. Maximum engine modes, making sure our ERS does not run out, and we get it perfectly timed as we come across the line and we go P1 and fastest of anybody in qualifying. Great lap there, not spectacular by any means. I reckon we got 37.4. I reckon a 0.0 could have easily been possible. I think there's a lot of mistakes in that lap, but in the end we finished in 2nd place, just behind Adidas Tracksuit, who managed to pit me right at the end there. But critically, none of the rivals that we raced with last time were not really close to us, but then again a lot of super soft runners, so it's going to be an interesting strategy with the ultras, the supers and the softs. It's going to make for a very unpredictable and interesting race. But all in all, that was qualifying, and we're now going to move into the race here at Baku. So moving on to the formation lap, and as you can see, this is the strategy we're going to be running, or at least I thought I was going to be running in principle. It's going to be a 2-stop strategy with the ultras onto the supers and then onto the softs, but it could change because at the end of the day, around this particular circuit, anything can happen. I might even go ultras, softs and then supers, or I might just go for 2 super soft stints, so I might go ultra, super. There's a lot of different options. I just did a strategy to basically just fulfill basically the strategy theme on the screen, so that the team also knew what I was doing. But there was a lot of different options here, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. It was one of them ones where my plan was to try and get into first place, and if I can get to first place and control the race pace, then I can kind of manage my strategy from there. That was what I was kind of hoping for. So we'll see what happens, but we're now going to line up on the grid and get ready for the 5 red lights here at Baku. We start on the dirty side of the grid, but let's see what happens. 5 red lights are on, and they are out here in Baku. We don't get a particularly great launch off the line. Adidas Tracksuit getting a great launch in the Sauber as we go down to turn 1 for the first time here, and it's all about keeping it clean and staying out of any possible incidents here. And as you can see, so far so good as we race down to turn 2 now, and Adidas Tracksuit getting a nice little gap out early on, enough of a gap to the point where I can't get a slipstream or have a go down to turn 3. Yellow flag behind, which is now green. A couple of incidents behind us, but luckily that's the benefit of being towards the sharp end of the grid, as you can avoid any potential incidents. Behind us we do have ram drop in the Renault, also on the ultra soft tyres there, so he's going to be one to watch out for. I know he's got a lot of pace. He was pretty damn quick. I think he won at China last time out, so we've got to watch out for him. He's going to be pretty damn fast in that Renault. But first time now, sector 1 for the first lap finish here in this Grand Prix, and so far so good as we got our first retirement there. Ian Bastien out of the race as we now look for the break point into the right hand hairpin. And so far at this point, even already early on, I felt very settled on this tyre, and I was already trying to study the lines and see what Adidas Tracksuit was doing in the Sauber. And you can see they just goes a bit lose me a corner and loses the back end here, and that is going to give me an opportunity to get right onto the back of the Sauber driver as we go along this curved back straight here, and now breaking downhill into this left-hander over the curbing here, and Adidas Tracksuit locks up, loses an end plate I think by hitting the wall, and he's now really under pressure here, and we're all over the back of the Sauber man. And so far it's looking very good for us. We'll lock up again there for Adidas Tracksuit into the corner, and now onto the pit straight. Ram drop right behind me as well. We've got to be careful for him. We're kind of attacking and defending at the same time here. But at the end of lap 1, it's been a great opening lap. We've kept our nose clean. Now we're going to go for the move here for the lead of the Grand Prix to the inside on the Sauber driver there, and we're going to try and get that move as an overtake and rich mix combination as we now get the fastest lap on lap 1 as expected, but we break late for turn 1 and get that move done, and it's a very nice overtake for the first place, and a very good lap 1 as a whole. Really good. I was quite happy with myself, and it's a very critical and important overtake. And now we've got to try and shake off Adidas Tracksuit here, because obviously he's going to be trying to get the slipstream and trying to re-overtake me, but hopefully that front wing damage will stop him from really trying to catch me up. But lap 3,
check your MFD for a new strategy option.
So far so good, and as you can see DRS is now enabled, and I've got a gap of over a second already to Adidas Tracksuit as I get proposed a different strategy. I kind of just stick to that for now, but like I mentioned, this is all subject to change, because you know, with the fact that we're in the lead, and like I mentioned, I wanted to be in first place, we can now kind of adjust our strategy and change it on the fly. So I was kind of like studying the gaps, you know, managing my pace, but also watching my tyre temperatures, watching my tyre wear, and you can see eventually Round Drop going to second place there. He actually got past Adidas Tracksuit, and on lap 6 I was scheduled to come in. Ram Drop actually came into the pit lane. I decided to stay out for one more lap with 67% wear on my right rear, because the longer I go in this first stint, the better, because I was thinking of an alternate strategy, and I wanted to go for the 1 stop. I wanted to try and revert from the 2 to the 1 and go for the ultras straight onto the softs. And as you can see, all the way to lap 7 now, right rear absolutely cooked, and we lose the back end midway through the chicane there. We just catch the back end of the car, but that allows Muller to get past us, the man who's leading the championship, and he's won 2 out of the first 3 races, and he's actually started on the super soft compound tyres, and this was my cue to come into the pit lane. I have Pony as well there in the Williams. He was pretty damn quick last time in China, and at this point on this one-stop strategy, I knew Muller and I Pony were on the one-stopper as well, and also Ram Drop, who came in the lap before. I think he's gone for the 1 as well, and we've all kind of reverted and switched to that one-stopper, especially us on the ultra softs, and basically now it's pretty much a 4-horse race on paper. So very, very interesting. Here comes Ram Drop now through turn 1, but we're going to be quite a bit ahead of him still, thanks to the gap that I established earlier on in the ultras. But we've managed to get to lap 8, and we're now on soft compound tyres. The question is, can we do 18 laps on these tyres from now until the checkered flag? That's going to be the question, because it's going to be a very, very long stint. And as you can see now, on all the way to lap 11, we actually jump up into 4th place, getting past Enigma there in the Ferrari, and slowly but surely recovering our original positions as we now get past Hayden. And also there is, I think we're now P3, yep, there we go, and now we're P2 as we get past Muller, who is coming to the pit lane, and he's now on soft tyres as well, but he's critically 4 to 5 laps fresher than mine, so he's going to have that advantage, which might come to help him out later on in the Grand Prix. But for now, we're P2, and we are behind JSR in the other Renault, going on to lap number 14. Muller here picking up a slipstream in the Haas, and he's looking dangerous and racy already on his soft tyres. I'm trying to basically drive at a controlled pace. I'm not pushing too much because I know I've got to go a long way on these tyres, like on the Ultra Soft, so I'm trying to keep it easy and only push when necessary. Now onto the back straight, you can see here we are behind JSR, cranking up the engine modes as we pull to the inside here, and it's going to be a very straightforward overtake on the Renault man, braking and down the inside into the brakes, and a little lock up on the left front there, almost hitting the wall. We have to turn out of it last second. Unfortunately, Muller also got straight past JSR there, and very little time lost for Muller, and I actually got hurt quite a bit there getting past JSR, and Muller pretty much was very able to keep up with me basically. I wasn't pushing that much because, like I mentioned, I was trying to keep everything under control and trying to get back on target when it comes to tyre wear and tyre temperature, fuel, ERS, all that stuff. But eventually on lap 14 here, going to lap 15, Muller makes his move in the Haas, and you can see DRS wide open there. A very straightforward move on the pit straight for the Haas man as we now go into turn 1, and at this point I was like, you know what, I'm going to try and follow him. I knew Muller was quick. He was the fastest in the time trials by quite some way compared to other people in the league, so I knew he was the man to beat around here, but I was yet to see the true pace. So I was kind of thinking to myself, you know what, I might have a chance here. So on lap 15 I decided to pick up the engine modes a little bit and also try and pick up my own pace to try and stick with him. And to be fair, Muller did try to break away. I could tell on the straights he was running higher engine modes. He was really trying to break away from me. Unfortunately it didn't work out for him, so as you see now at the end of the lap, we're pulling the slipstream. We're going to open up the DRS, a chance to save engine modes here, and this is extremely tactical from both of us. I know we were both of us trying to mess around with the engine modes to try and make things last around this circuit, but you can see we get the move done there around the outside into turn 1, and we retake first place with a personal best in the process there. But I knew this was far from over, as I knew Muller still had good pace and also the tyres were on his side, so it's going to be a tricky one, but there's still a long way to go. 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Muller again picking up the slipstream here, but I can't notice he almost backed down for a second there, but then he sort of recommitted to the overtake. He tried to go on the outside. I held the inside line, side by side action here. I pick up the traction and I just edge in front of him, and I'll retake that first place into the right hander of turn 5, and we stay ahead of him for now as we now skip towards the end of that particular lap. Once again Muller getting the run on me here, but you can see that he just tucks back in with the slipstream, and like I mentioned before, very tactical driving, and it's all about, you know, making the move count at the right time, you know, right place, right time. And I knew at this point Muller wanted to try and get past me and make it count and make it stick, and I could tell that he tried to wait until this back straight, because this is when I knew this is the straight that he wants to pass me on. I knew he was trying to you know, practice his overtakes, put it that way. And again, he had a little look there, kind of got off the throttle, backed out halfway through, and basically at this point I'm just pulling him along. But this time on lap 18, Muller goes to the outside, really committing to it. I tried to hold it on the inside, going very late on the brakes, just about enough room there for the pair of us on the racing line there, but Muller gets it done around the outside. A phenomenal overtake from him, got to give him credit for that one. Very nice clean move there, and this time you can see he's really trying to get away from me. I'm trying to pick up the engine modes here, rich mix, and also overtake DRS to try and go for the re-overtake. Not quite away past there, and Muller gets the job done this time and takes first place with 8 laps to go in the Grand Prix. And ultimately he really got away from me this time. You can see towards the end of the lap I did not have DRS, and he really got the hammer down basically and really found some good pace. So fair play to him. I knew he had that pace from time trials, so I was kind of waiting for it to appear, and eventually it shone through and he got the job done. Although having said that, I think he used up most of his engine modes on that lap, because after that I was pretty much able to follow him around 1 to 2.5 second gap. You know, not really much of a difference. Semi-consistent lap times, but also my tyres were starting to get very worn out by this point, and I was kind of just trying to nurse the car home, because even Ramdrop in the Renault behind me, who hit in a lap before me, somehow he must have done a really good stint, because he was actually catching me up in the Renault, and his tyres must have been a little bit better than mine, because I was struggling on these last 2 laps of the Grand Prix. But ultimately Muller is going to come home to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, round 4 of the season, 3 out of 4 for him in AOR F3 PC this season, and we come home for our first podium of the season and a brilliant second place finish, and you know, a second race really, because Australia disconnected after 2 laps, and even in Australia I was in second place behind Muller. So you know what, I'm going to count that as my second race, and for my second race, a podium, I'm happy with that, considering I didn't have much practice because I'd work all 3 or 4 days leading up to that weekend. I didn't really have that much time to practice, because any spare time I had to make videos. But all in all, a great race, very happy with that one. Second place for us in Baku, and I cannot complain. And we go again next time in Spain, which I'm looking forward to, and then we've got Monaco, which is something I'm very much excited for. But as you can see, official confirmation there of the race results as Muller, myself and Ramdrop round off the podium. Iapony there P4 in the Williams with a penalty to his name. JSR, Enigma, Adidas Tracksuit, Julian, who we had a great battle with in China, down in P8 there today. And then we've got Corny and also Hayden rounding off the top 10. But that is your final race results here at Baku, and I cannot complain. A great race weekend. I kind of knew I wasn't going to win just because of the tire deficit, and also I knew Muller just had a little bit more pace than me based off of the time trial lap time. So all in all, I'm not too disappointed. You can see there on the standings now, we do jump up into 5th place, and very good. I'm very happy with that one. You know, we're starting to get some momentum together, and we are 7 points behind Iapony, so we can try and perform at Spain, and you never know, the sky's the limit. Muller really starting to establish a lead here, 35 points clear at the top of the table from Ramdrop. And you know, all in all, I can't complain. We beat Ramdrop as well, who's a championship contender. We beat Julian as well, so a positive result here at Baku, and one that made me realise that I might actually be faster than I thought I was in this league. So you never know. We'll see what happens. There's still plenty of races to go, and lots of potential things that could happen. So it's a long season, and we'll just take it one race at a time. But I'll be back again next week, guys, for the Spanish Grand Prix in Catalonia, which I'm very much looking forward to. If you guys did enjoy this video though for round 4 at Baku, then leave a like on the video. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content. Turn notifications to not miss a single video from me. Also, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode, and I'll see you in my next one very soon for round 5 for the Spanish Grand Prix. But until then, it's going to be goodbye from me.